Today's video is a compilation of reactions to the sneak peek of chapter 1120. Let's dive into the main content. Isn't that Punk Hazard? Doesn't it look like some kind of Oni demon is popping out?
Could it be the numbers? Big Mom did mention in Wano Country that Kato bought them from Punk Hazard.
Judging from the silhouette, it's probably Hacha. Based on the ages of Sanji's siblings, Vegapunk left Mads to work for the government around 26 years ago, which was 6 years before the Buster Call on Ohara, right? Doesn't that make Dr. Clover seem a bit too young?
Even if we calculate based on Reiji being 24 years old, it would be around 25 years ago, and the Buster Call on Ohara was 22 years ago, so it's about a 3-year difference instantly. He looks way too old.
So, Dr. Clover was at Punk Hazard? Huh? I used to wonder why Dr. Clover and the others weren't killed when they were captured. But now I understand from Vegapunk's perspectivity. Gathering them all together would make them easier to handle.
It seems like they deliberately let Ovia return to Ohara. Now that I think about it.
I wonder if Vice Admiral Saul's assistance in letting her escape wasn't just a coincidence but actually orchestrated. Well, we can only really know that from the main store. Prince Ohara's destruction was inevitable. Sooner or later. A fate waiting to happen.
Dr. Clover discussing that topic in a government facility. Not knowing who might be listening, he really was playing with fire.
They mentioned on the broadcast that they're not going to argue about who's in the wrong. Is that Vegapunk's stance?
Dr. Clover's clover at that time looked like a genuine clover, youthful and fresh. What's with that plant-like hair?
So, the reason Clover didn't die right away was because he was basically being played with. Did they mention this before?
It hasn't been explicitly stated. Archaeologists seem to be played with, repeatedly captured and released, only to be taken back each time. There's a sense that their abilities are begrudgingly valued by the government, a sentiment that's been around since Ovia's time.
Does Vegapunk feel like only those who lived in the past can truly understand past events?
So, Clover was 81 years old at the time, and Vegapunk was 39? Vegapunk is still young, and the risk of turning against the government is high.
As long as they're researching things other than the Void Century, it seems they're allowed to do so. Ohara must have accumulated knowledge from such research. It's a shame to wipe all of that out in one fell swoop.
It's not really important, but Punk Hazard used to be rich in nature. Huh? With incidents like Caesar's accident and the showdown between Akenua and Okiji, the island's environment itself ended up changing.
They might have been conducting research on the island's unique ecosystem, too. By the time Luffy and the others landed there, though, it had been completely wiped out.
People were questioning why Dr. Clover was repeatedly imprisoned but not killed, saying it seemed lenient. Saying he was just being manipulated is probably the only plausible answer.
Isn't this around the time when young Robin was left on Ohara by Ovia? Was this when they were educating children with talent in archaeology, like Robin, while also requesting cooperation from a young Vegapunk? Or perhaps Robin started to develop the next generation on her own after Vegapunk refused to help?
They didn't want the Void Century exposed. But were there selfish motives to uncover other lost research findings that could benefit figures like Imsama or the Five Elders? There seems to be a hint of anticipation for when Mother Flemel would be created.
It's not that the entire Void Century is taboo for Imsama and the Five Elders, but rather certain aspects within it. To conceal inconvenient truths contained within, they might have preferred to enforce a blanket ban on all related matters. However, within the Void Century, there are facts that wouldn't be missed if exposed, and even some they might want to propagate. Perhaps they tried to cleverly manipulate archaeologists and scientists to focus only on those specific areas?
Considering such a conversation might have taken place between Vegapunk and Robin before she aspired to be an archaeologist, it could elevate the relationship between Clover and Robin beyond just a senior scholar nurturing a promising young talent. It suggests that there was a possibility they considered. If everyone else perished, children might be spared, hence steering Robin towards that path. This perspective amplifies the seriousness of Clover's character. In reality, if she was a child, nobody would have known she was an archaeologist, as she herself said.
If that was the intention, wouldn't it have been more convenient to integrate Robin into the circle of researchers of the Void Century's research without granting her a doctorate? 3.5.
I think granting the title of doctor was more like a trophy signifying that Robin had completed the foundational coursework as an archaeologist. Moreover, If they educated Robin as an insurance policy in case they were wiped out, it would be even more imperative not to involve her in Void Century research. Even if the cipher documents were to burn up, having someone who knows how to interpret them could allow for a restart. Poneglyphs are indestructible, so a matured Robin could teach others and continue the search. However, once cultivated, such individuals do not return if lost, and new archaeologists wouldn't emerge from there. Therefore, from the perspective of not extinguishing the potential of young scholars, it might be right not to involve them in dangerous research from a young age.
That concludes the video. Please like and subscribe to the channel.